If I told you I'd turn £800 in ad spend into £17,500 in revenue, you'd probably assume something sketchy. But it isn't, because getting a 21x ROAS from retargeting campaigns wasn't about some clever creatives. It was all about how I thought about retargeting, how I built it inside Ads Manager, and one thing that no one talks about, and that is the traffic you generate before you even attempt to retarget. First, I'll show you the proof, then I'll break down the exact framework in the Ads Manager, and finally, I'll show you why most retargeting fails before the ad is even launched. So this is Hyros. This is my tracking platform, which essentially tracks my ads, essentially very accurately to the point where it shows me exactly which ad generates revenue from which point. Now, as you can see here, very straightforwardly, I spent £7 a day over the period of quite a few months, right? I set a low budget to this, and I actually didn't realize that it was performing this well because it was such a low budget. And it was just sending ads back to my cold audience that had already engaged with my advert or my content at some point in time. Like you can see, I ran it from October of last year to around here. I paused it just because the ads started fatiguing a little bit. But like you can see, I spent £829. I returned 17.6k. I booked 29 calls at £28 each, which is almost unheard of because in my space, especially with people who are helping coaches, advertising and retargeting is so much more expensive. So if you can replicate this for your niche, you'll be even more profitable than this. And again, just to verify this, I used to trust the old ChatGPT and I said to it, look, I spend this much, I returned this much, what's my return on ad spend? And as you can see here, 21.2x ROAS, which in most cases is unheard of, especially in my niche. Let me break down how this actually works. Now, just to be clear, for anybody who doesn't understand what retargeting is, it's very simply when you send adverts back to the audience who have engaged with a piece of content or who have engaged with your initial advert, but maybe didn't take an action, didn't book a call, didn't take that next step, essentially. Okay. So now let's go into the Ads Manager and show you how this actually works. So as you can see here, I'm now in my Ads Manager. Now these are some new campaigns that I started running yesterday. And again, I run a retargeting campaign and got a booked call straight off the bat for £23. So straight back to where it was, as you can see in Hyros, £28. I'm actually a little bit cheaper, essentially. And I'm using the same process to retarget. So as you can see, I've got these cold adverts that are going to new audiences, to people who haven't seen me before. And then very simply, I'm running these retargeting ads to hit those people again who interacted to get them to try and jump on a call with me if they didn't go for that call initially, right? So let's walk through how to set this up. So in the Ads Manager, the first thing you need to do is set up your audience and essentially let Meta know who will be sending this advert to. And the way to do that very simply is to come to audiences here and make a couple of custom audiences. So if you press create audience, custom audience, the one that I used that I found to be most effective for myself was website. So adding in all of your landing pages, adding in your actual website. And that means you would create an audience on that. So if I press next, you create an audience on that based on your pixel. So make sure that's set up. Do all website visitors, do the max that you can, which is 180 days, and just give it a name. And so what this does essentially is it'll create an audience which will put into the ad targeting so Meta knows to send people these retargeting ads who have interacted with your websites and landing pages. I'd then recommend you upload your customer list, your lead list. So any leads that maybe haven't converted, if you've got their names, emails, phone numbers, upload that. Then I'd recommend to do everybody who's engaged with your Instagram account in the last 365 days. Same with your Facebook page, same with any lead forms that you've mentioned, and same with any videos that maybe you had that went viral or did slightly better. Also create those as well, right? So essentially, like I say, what you are doing here is you are putting in every source of where somebody may have interacted with you, creating an audience from that. As you can see from all these names here, is the different audiences that I've created. So essentially what you do is you have all of these audiences and we'll put the targeting into that. So then Meta knows to only send the adverts to these people who are warmer, have more intent, and are more likely to convert. And that's how you get the cheap conversions. So now let's look at how you actually set this up. So you want to navigate back to campaigns. I'm going to show you how to set this up with actually a live campaign that I've got up now, which is this retargeting book a call. Now I've redone this, like I said, just because the other one, it was running for so long, it did eventually start fatiguing. And yeah, essentially we're doing this one, same premise, same concepts, just relaunched it. Okay. Now in terms of setting it up, always select ad set budget. Now in your ad set, essentially what you want to do is send people to your landing page, which is inviting people to book in a call. That's the best way that I would recommend to set this up essentially, right? Now, in terms of setting that up, I've got a budget of £20 a day on this one, so I've put a little bit more here. Then in terms of settings, make sure to turn off Advantage Plus and to go to original audience options. Set your location, set your age range, make sure user suggestion is always turned off. And then in here, add the audiences that you've just created. So as you can see, Instagram engagers, Facebook engagers, lead form engagers, all of the website visitors and engagers, and the lead list. Add all of these in here, turn off users as suggestions. So what this means is Facebook will only send these ads to people on Instagram and Facebook who fall into these buckets. As simple as that, right? That is essentially what you want to do to make this work from a targeting perspective. Then in terms of setting up the ads, just to show you, essentially what you want to do are very simple ads, very casual, very generic, which are actually calling people out in a very casual way, essentially saying that, look, I know you've seen me, I know you've seen my face, come and book a call, let's chat. So let me show you a few examples that are working really well for me at the moment. So this is the first one. Coaches, you've probably seen my face a few times, and you've probably seen a couple of other people's faces who claim they can help you, claim they can get you results, and claim they can streamline your growth and the amount of customers you can get. And you're probably thinking, okay, why is this guy back on my feed talking to me again? Well, essentially, so as you can see, very generic, casual ads, calling them out. Same with this one. Slightly different angle, but same concept. Okay, so if you're seeing this, you've seen my face a couple of times now. Maybe you've thought about booking a call with me, or have clicked on one of my other ads. And I'm just recording this video to tell you that although I look like a Dubai final boss, and yes, so again, just calling it out like, look, I know you've seen me, I know you've been hesitant, and calling that out. This is an advert that worked really well for me last time. Again, same concept, but just to show you something that works so you can replicate. Right, okay, let's cut the crap. If you're seeing this, you've seen my face, you've probably thought about booking a call, or you've just seen me about somewhere, but let's just put it this way. You're probably a coach, you're probably looking for a newer, simpler and easier way of getting coaching clients. You'd love to do that without any of the complex. So that one works really well as well. And then the most effective one, which I'd recommend everyone to replicate, is retargeting. This was my most profitable ad in that campaign that you saw previously. I've just slightly updated it with new case studies, was this.
Last month, I made 17,435.
Cash collected, I think I've had 18K.
I made just under 80,000.
The numbers have probably gone up like business 4 or 5x. So we've made
60,000 from ad spend.
So all I've done here is pull together a short reel of all of my clients shouting about their results. And this was the most profitable one because people have already seen my face, they already know what I'm about, and they keep getting hit with results. And they're like, okay, let's just book in a call and see what this is about, right? So that's what I'd recommend. Now, in terms of the type of landing page we're sending it to, just so you're aware, very simply, headline, a video convincing them to book a call, a button to apply to book a call with me. And then if I come off this, just a couple of testimonials, not all of them, just a couple. So that is essentially how you set it up, right? Now, that's the technical side, right? But the way that you actually get this working and you actually get this flowing and you actually make it profitable for you isn't so much to do with the technical side, but it's to do with how you think about retargeting, what you're saying in your retargeting, and the type of avatar that you're speaking to. So let me break that down for you right now. So let's talk about what actually makes this work and what actually makes it most profitable. And the thing that makes retargeting work so well is the traffic that you get beforehand. So obviously think of it this way. When you're running retargeting campaigns, all you are doing is sending adverts back to people who have engaged with you, engaged with your content, engaged with your advert, but maybe not taken the action to book a call, right? That's all you're doing. But like I say, the most important thing beforehand is making sure that the traffic and the people who are interacting that do fall into your retargeting pool are good quality. And I'm going to show you how to make sure of that now, because if the initial people who interact are bad quality, the people that get retargeted are going to be bad quality and you're not going to get that good of a conversion. Now, the first way that you really do this is with something that I call micro problems. So think about it this way, right? Your target avatar is a big problem in the middle of their life, in their situation, something they're looking to solve. What makes up that problem are loads of little micro problems. And that is what your advert needs to be about. So let me explain that. I'm going to say your advert, your cold advert. So for example, in the middle of the situation for coaches, for me, they struggle with getting clients, right? End of the day, that's what it is. But what makes up that problem is they don't know how to run ads, they don't know how to book calls, they don't know how to generate leads, they don't know how to market themselves, maybe they don't know how to properly define their niche, they don't know how to position themselves, on and on and on, etc., etc. We could keep going around in circles. But what you need to do in your adverts is speak very specifically to the pain points around the micro problems. So this is when you really need to start thinking about what exact avatar do you want? What type of person do you want to be coming through? And then only create adverts that speak on those exact micro problems. And that's going to make sure that the people that are coming through are qualified, have the strong pain points, are people that are able to invest and are your ideal type of customer. And the reason this is so important is because with any market, there's a broad range of types of people, right? So for me, I could go for very, very beginner coaches, or I could go for more advanced coaches. Now, although they both have the same overarching problem, their micro problems are different, right? So a beginner coach may not know even how to use social media. They may not know even how to define their niche, whereas an advanced coach has that in place, but they're looking for more calls. They're looking for high quality leads. And that's how you can slightly start to switch your messaging. Now, once you've scripted your ads with your micro problems in place and understand that you're trying to attract a high quality person to make your retargeting work, the thing that I recommend for your cold ads is script them out, right? Very simple structure, have a hook, list a couple of pain points, present your solution, and then offer us a call to action. And then leave your scripts for 24 hours. Leave them alone. Step away from it, close them down, don't look at them again. And then come back and reflect on them the next day with fresh eyes before you record, and make sure that they fit into the bucket of the type of person that you're trying to attract. And say to yourself, does the type of person that I want, does my dream customer who has these micro problems, are they going to resonate with this, or is this going to put in other types of leads? And as long as you're convinced with the fact that it will attract quality, then you launch those ads, you run those campaigns. Obviously, make sure as well what you're offering in the ad, aside from what you're saying in the advert, what you're actually offering and presenting, for example, your lead magnet or your VSL or whatever that is, make sure that that reflects something that a quality lead would want to download. Then once you've got all that in place and you launch those adverts, the people clicking are going to be high quality. And then all you need to do very simply is retarget those people with the setup that I showed you a moment ago in the Ads Manager. And that is all I did, literally all I did to get a 21.1x ROAS over the last couple of months with only £800 in ad spend. So I hope you found that useful. And if you've got any questions about retargeting, or maybe if you can't even be bothered to do it yourself, my handle is below. So feel free to book in the chat and I can help you set that up.